Here is tonight's webinar, Tools for the Competitive Edge, How Learning Styles Can Work for Your Business. You know, over the past 4 weeks, we have looked at a coach on you coaches and you entrepreneurs and just suggesting how ways you can fit everything together one piece at a time. And we looked at understanding intelligence and ways then to increase your coaching and entrepreneurial experiences as well as your competencies. Intelligence and learning, with regard to you, the good news is we're all intelligent. Generally speaking, intelligence is defined as the capacity for learning from experiences, the ability to adapt to new situations, ability to solve problems, possessing the aptitude of grasping truths and facts and relationships. Howard Gardner, an MI theorist, defines intelligence as an aptitude, which is the ability to learn. Learning is reflective of intelligence in significant ways. Multiple intelligence explains how we learn, how we acquire knowledge. Psychologists will call that learning acquisition. What are ways that learning acquisition occurs with a human being? Formal intelligence testing, recall, began in the early 1900s so that educators could identify special needs children and place them in appropriate classrooms. Alfred Binet was the first to develop an assessment device where children with special needs could in fact be identified. IQ testing continues to be used today for placing children in an environment where they can learn best, and it is also used by the U.S. military so that soldiers can be placed in a career path that best matches their skills and abilities. Intelligence testing, generally speaking, measures a person's vocabulary, comprehension, verbal absurdities. I'm not going to read the whole list. You can see that what that is just, it's all basically head kinds of things. What goes inside the mind. It's very heavily oriented towards vocabulary and then performance. Performance being able to express numbers back, build equations, have a memory for sentences and the way that the words were used. Early in the 1970s, traditional learning styles were introduced, and generally speaking, they were categorized along 3 categories of visual, auditory, and kinesthetic. And you can see that visual had to do with pictures, handouts, charts, and facial expressions. Auditory obviously dealt with talking, hearing, and listening, and also being very attuned to voice inflection. And then finally, kinesthetic was hands-on, actually performing the task. A person who learns best this way does by doing the task rather than seeing it drawn out, reading about it, what other avenues that they could learn. Their best is by doing it with their hands. In the 80s, Howard Gardner introduced a new theory on learning called the multiple intelligences, and here's just a wheel diagram that I've put together of word smart, logic, image, body, sound, nature, people smart, and cell smart. And as you will recall, word smart is the ability to use words and language. Logic has to do with ability of reasoning and logic and numbers. Image smart is the ability to perceive the visual. Body smart, again, is the ability to control body movements and handle objects skillfully. Sound smart, ability to produce and appreciate music. Nature is the ability to understand the outdoors. People is the ability to relate and understand others. And self-smart, which is the ability to self-reflect and be aware of one's inner state. I think in the last couple of weeks we've learned that these 2 here are probably the ones that most people in Western culture utilize. They are the ways that we communicate. Is we must be in relationship with other individuals, and to be successful with relating to others, we need to know about ourselves and how we interact with those around us. These others does not mean that they're secondary to that. It just means this is probably, in terms of just frequency of use, the 2 most frequent ones that we use. You know, it really is a matter of perspective. It's a matter of how you look at the world, how you learn from the world. It could be that you do it with word, logic, image, body, any one of these, or combinations of nature and body. We have a gentleman in our course who is very nature smart, and he is body smart, and when he gets on a horse, he and the horse are one. It's as if their mind is just melded together. Beware the Borg. But They just move and flow together. And that's an example of intelligences cooperating with each other and working in harmony. Coaching. In the past 4 weeks, we have covered 8 areas of multiple intelligences. According to the 2 MI theorists, Gardner and Armstrong, we all have a preferred way of learning, one of learning acquisition. That is, it's a preferred way to learn about the world around us and then turn around and reflect back what we've learned in some capacity. I have several questions for you to consider. How have you adjusted your listening skills as a result of this class? What cues are you picking up that you did not hear before when you're listening to people that you're talking with, whether it's in a coaching situation, just a regular conversation, or an entrepreneurial kind of thing? And as a result of these new cues, how did those conversations change for you in terms of their outcome? What did you learn about yourself? Are there learning styles which you would like to enhance? Are there particular people that you have problems communicating with? If so, take 15 minutes and see if your multiple intelligences are colliding with each other. You may be at the opposite continuum, if there would be one. You might be logic and nature, heavily oriented those 2 ways, where evidence must demonstrate the next step. And you might be in conflicting with an individual who's highly spatial or music. While they aren't at the end opposite continuums, these 2 really don't blend together in some ways. People see things differently than a logic person does. A picture person, a spatial person, sees things in whole, in total, whereas a logic-oriented or mathematical-oriented person wants steps. Write down everything you know about the person's learning styles. Sit down, kind of figure out what they are. Write those things down. Then when you get back with them again, adjust your communication style to meet theirs, and let's see what happens. Do your multiple intelligences match your career goals? If not, make some adjustments. Obviously, many of us can't get out of our careers, but we can come back and learn about intelligences that are more reflective of what our career is at this time, and we can make some adjustments. Here's one of the great things about being a human being. We can learn, we can adjust, we can adapt to situations, and we can be successful. It takes us making the changes.